Hey, what's happening? If you're a peer and you know it, clap your hands. If you're a peer and you know it, clap your hands. If you're a peer and you know it and you live your life to show it, if you're a peer and you know it, clap your hands. Check it out. I'm here to talk about the credentialing process in Washington State. Previously, it was CPC, now it's CPSS, and there is a plethora of confusion and misunderstandings about what that actually means and what it means for people that were previously a CPC, what it means for people that were previously agency affiliated in association with their CPC, and what it means moving forward. My name is Bilal Willis. I'm also known as Coach B. I'm a Washington State certified peer support specialist trainer and a Healthcare Authority Division of Behavioral Health and Recovery approved mentor for trainers. My goal today is to just try my best to alleviate some of the misunderstandings and really paint a clear picture. I feel like one of the most damaging things that are in our community right now is the amount of misinformation, the amount of confusion around lots of topics. But I'm going to focus on peer support because I'm a peer. I'm peer for you. I love this work. And it doesn't matter who likes me, doesn't like me, knows about me, whatever. I don't take things personally. It's one of the four agreements I try my best to live by. And I also move in integrity. So I know that I'm doing things that I'm supposed to do. People that do know me know that I say this often. I'm in alignment with my assignment. And right now in this video, I am compelled to try to give you some really concise information. In fact, I'm going to share my screen here and so I'm hoping everybody can see what I'm showing right now. This is the Washington State Peer Support Specialist transition. Apparently when the bill came out, 5555, it moved away from the 40-hour training and the title CPC over to CPSS, which is now an 80-hour training. You have to gain 1,000 hours of paid or volunteer peer support experience approved by a Department of Health approved supervisor, and then you would have to submit an application. The fee is $100. You can do it online, and you would ask the Department of Health for the credential of CPSS. If you are not in the process or you haven't already completed the 1,000 hours, then you would be clicking the different title, which is CPSST, which puts you in the trainee status when you apply for the application. And then you would gain your 1,000 hours under an approved supervisor to become a CPSS, the credential. So where I believe, and I just got 2-3 more messages today in my inbox about people saying that, hey, I just took the exam, I'm certified. One thing I attend is the PSAG, which is Peer Support Advisory Group. It is a group to the community of peers where we come together and we discuss things, we learn about updates. The last one I attended, Ted Dale was at from Department of Health. And he made it very, very clear a couple of things that I think are really important for us to know. So let's go back just a tiny bit, right? When it was CPC, you will see this is where it lived, right? When it was CPC, Certified Peer Counselors, you would take a prerequisites on your LMS, you would get assigned to training, you would do the application to the Healthcare Authority. Healthcare Authority would approve your training, you would take the training, and then if you pass an exam, you would receive a letter that said you passed the exam, you are now a Certified Peer Counselor. All of that was housed under the Healthcare Authority. They did the training, the qualifying, and the certifying. Fast forward, Bill 5555 changed significantly a lot of those things. Although Healthcare Authority is still in charge of the training and implementation as far as the training and the exam. That's it. That's where HCA part or role in this process is done. Once you take your exam nowadays, if you're starting from scratch, you take your prerequisites, you do an 80-hour training, you pass your exam. You have then moved into qualified. That's it. You are now qualified because you passed the exam to then voluntarily, Ted Dale is really specific about this. The CPSS credential is a voluntary process, right? When you pass the exam, you are technically equal in knowledge to someone who holds the credential. The only difference is they submitted the application, they did the background check, and they were given the credential by the Department of Health. Now, you'll see this other thing that says title not protected. Washington is strengthening peer workforce to ensure quality, consistency, and professional recognition. Because of that professional recognition, CPSS is no longer, or CPC is no longer issued, for one. Two, the CPSS is the standard moving forward. Now, the CPSS is what you call a protected title. What that means is, in layman's terms, you cannot add CPSS to the end of your name without the DOH credential. And I repeat, you cannot add CPSS to the end of your name unless you have done the full process of the 1,000 hours, and or if you were a CPC prior, you would go on the LMS system where you took your original prerequisites and you would take what they call a gap training, and then you would still submit the application, the attestation that you have been in the field for a set amount of time, and you would still have to go through the background check, the process, and everything else, and then DOH will give you a credential with the number that you can look up publicly and see that you're either pending or you're in active status or inactive status, right? So what happens in the future is if you were to use CPSS after your name and you did not do that process, it's actually illegal. It's a crime. Same way you can't say you're a doctor and not be a doctor. Same way you can't say you're a therapist if you're not actually a licensed therapist. You cannot use the title. So that's what this here means. CPSS is a protected title, illegal to use unless requirements are met. So the Department of Health now oversees the CPSS credentials, standards, and enforcement. Before it was the HCA, but they are now only governing the testing, the trainings, the training organizations, all the things that involve training to be qualified, right? Qualified is not the same as certified. I just want to really make that clear. Department of Health did a really good, concise explanation of that. And so I want to share that with my community, with the network, with all the peers around that are super confused about what it means to be a CPSS, why they're taking this particular training. And so the other part about that, what makes the difference so very significant is this. CPSS credential holders are able to bill Medicaid with their credential. That right there is essentially the only difference between somebody who took the exam, passed it, qualifies to get the credential, but opts out of getting the credential. The only difference between you and a credential holder is they can put CPSS at the end of their name, and also their credential allows them to bill Medicaid for services, whether it's for an agency or, as they say, at some point you'll be able to hang your own shingle and bill peer support privately. I don't have an opinion on that. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But what I'm here to discuss is the fact that there's a lot of misinformation. People are taking this 80-hour training, leaving it, and then immediately putting CPSS after their names. That is not legal, and it is not your fault. There's a lot of confusion. This stuff is brand new, but just understand there are a lot of peer organizations that do not bill Medicaid where you can still do the work. So you can still do the work under PSS, peer support specialist. I personally am going to make a formal suggestion to the community and ask your input. I believe if you take the test, pass the exam, you should be putting Cpss after your name if the initials, like me, mean as much to you as they do to me, right? Getting my credentials mattered significantly to me coming out of prison, being, kind of insecure, not knowing where I was going to go or who I was going to be working for. To me, everything that I've done up to this point has been to dive into peer support, into behavioral health, into coaching, supportive, emotional regulation, all the different things. I train, I learn, I collect mentors, but the credentials for me are for the rest of the world. They're for everybody else to understand that I'm committed, dedicated, move in authenticity. I understand the ethics and parameters of what it means to be a peer supporter, a coach, and they're different. And so I just want to be really clear. If you want to do this work as a peer support specialist and you've taken the exam, you've passed the test, you've got that letter from the healthcare authority, that does not give you your credential, right? You are knowledgeable and you are qualified to apply for the credential after you take that test and pass it. If you're new and you weren't a CPC prior, then you would need to do 1,000 hours on the job, voluntary or paid, and whoever your supervisor is has to also be an approved supervisor of peers in order for them to attest to the 1,000 hours, which is roughly 6 months working a full-time job, just in case you were wondering. And I highly suggest, attending like the PSAG, peer support advisory group, what the healthcare authority puts on once a month or once every other month now. I can't remember how it moves, but it's a really, really good source of information directly. Pretty much next year, I believe the end of this year, CPC will no longer be a recognized credential or certification. Like, you'll always be a CPC, but if you're going to do this work under Medicaid, if you're going to bill for it, then you have to get this credential, and you have to get this credential in order to give yourself the CPSS after your name. I'm going to make a formal suggestion. I've already sent an email. I think QPSS would mitigate a lot of that confusion. The Q standing for qualified, right? Certified peer support specialist is the DOH credential. A qualified peer support specialist is someone who meets all the educational requirements of someone who bills Medicaid, but just chose not to pursue that credential because it is voluntary and it is not a requirement to do peer support. It's a requirement to bill Medicaid or insurance for peer support, but not a requirement to do the job itself. Hope that helps. We're peer for you. Stay peer, everybody.